There's a general belief that owning a home is better than renting, that there's just something smarter or superior or more stable about someone that owns a property than someone that rents, and that essentially everyone should aspire to owning their own home. I don't happen to agree with that. Owning a house has a lot of benefits, and for the right people at the right time, it is absolutely the thing to do. There's all kinds of advantages to owning a home, but not for everyone and not at every point in their life. Renting versus owning are simply personal and financial choices. There are different times in people's lives where they want perhaps the flexibility of renting, the freedom to be able to pick up and move. That's a level of flexibility that you just don't have with ownership. Owning has lots of benefits if you're prepared to be there long term, but these are choices you make based on the priorities that you have in your life. So having this underlying belief that owning is superior, it can be distracting and may even interfere with making good choices. There are absolutely lots of great reasons to rent. And when you're in that place, when your life has those priorities that make renting a better option for you, owning would be foolish. Lots of people have made decisions to buy a house, and I think just instinctively buy a house. They move to a new area and they buy a house. Corporate executives often will relocate and buy a new house where they've relocated to. And sometimes they're not even certain that they're going to be there all that long. It's, a few years, but beyond that, it's an unknown. Well, there's plenty of, as far as I'm concerned, that's a good time to rent. And until the job feels more certain and long term, and to just get to know an area. I would recommend to people who are relocating that they take their time on a purchase. Now, if they want to own, if they're prepared to make that kind of commitment in time that they're really going to be able to benefit from it, buying's a great thing. But renting is also a great thing when that's where you're at in your life. So I encourage people to try and shake off that instinctive belief that there's a superiority to home ownership over renting. They are just different choices to serve your life in a way that matches your values and your priorities. Myth number 1. Everyone should aspire to own their own home. Essentially, the belief that owning a house is superior to renting. I think everyone would agree there are times and circumstances where renting is better than owning. Maybe you're a young adult and not ready to settle down, or perhaps you're new to a city and need to learn what areas you like. But for most people, these are the exceptions. And owning your home is the normal option for a successful, mature, settled adult. It is cultural conditioning to aspire to home ownership. While there may be times where renting is the only practical solution, our cultural sentiment is that if you are in a position to buy a house, you should buy a house. This belief can have a hidden and dangerous influence on house purchase choices. All home buyers should do a little self-exploration on their own internal opinions. If your home search is fueled by an unfounded and irrational belief that buying a house is what you should do, without a specific understanding of why, then you should step back and reevaluate your housing options. The decision of owning versus renting should be a thoughtful, rational choice based on your needs and circumstances. Owning and renting are different, with different advantages and disadvantages. What is your own internal story on owning your own home? Would it feel just as good to own a house that you rent to others as an income property and rented the house where you live? What is the emotion attached to owning the house where you live? What if you owned 2 modest income properties and rented a nice house to live in? More expensive houses are often less to rent than to buy. Think on that for a minute. How does this idea feel to you? Some people see the financial opportunity, while many insist on owning their home even if it was not as advantageous financially. Why is this? What is the emotion attached, and in what ways might that help or hurt you? How do you compare owning and renting when applied to others? Let's say you are choosing a doctor for a life-threatening medical procedure. You're given the choice between 2 doctors, and you know nothing about either doctor except one owns their own home and the other rents an apartment. Given only that information, which doctor would you choose? What occurs to you as you formulate an opinion? For many, owning a home speaks of stability, reliability, financial strength, and success. Why does the other doctor rent? For others, homeownership conjures images related to family, community, kids in the backyard, playdates with their friends, and family holidays. Does a rental feel as satisfying as your dream home? Would you consider yourself as good a parent in an apartment or feel as good about hosting Thanksgiving? Have you had opinions of others based on this criteria? Many of us have deeply held beliefs the role of owning a house plays in our lives that will influence our decisions. Left undiscovered, these beliefs can have unintended consequences on the outcome of a house purchase decision. Do you have an opinion on owning versus renting? Why? How might that affect the house you choose and the amount you are willing to spend? For example, if you connect the house you own with how responsible or successful people are, or how good a parent you feel they are, might you spend more money stretching to be that person? Many do, and find themselves stretched too far. Explore your attitudes and beliefs about owning your own home. What are those visions you have in terms of how you see yourself or believe you will be seen by others? I'm not suggesting these beliefs are wrong or bad or that you should change them, although that may well be the case. I am saying that they should be identified and placed in a rational balance with other competing priorities in your life. Consider seeing renting and owning as simply housing strategies for you to use to suit the different stages of your life and different goals you might have. I like to think wings versus roots. Renting is for people that want wings and the ease and flexibility that renting allows. People not ready to settle down, those who benefit from career flexibility, or those that love travel and want to pick up and go. Retirees or those wanting a low-maintenance lifestyle. Renting is wonderfully flexible and less work and responsibility. Homeownership is for people that want roots, settling down and raising a family, or those that want to become part of a community or want to build long-term financial independence. Neither choice is good or bad. They are simply options for you to choose from as you craft your best possible life.